Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. I'm not sure if you can tell. Let me turn around this way so I can. There we go. Just nice little overhead sunshine. Uh, Hello, everyone. My name is Angelo. I am a passport brother who brought his fiance from Vietnam to come live with me in the States. And now we are working on what is the second half of both of our lives together to make things great in this amazing world of ours. I'm happy today. I'm happy today because I feel good. Both Nia and I are recovering from a bout with COVID, and there's Max in the background. Is he in playing? This is my third time actually having COVID, and this one kind of kicked my butt in a different way. It just made me really tired and lethargic, and just like no energy whatsoever. And then when I thought I was getting better, I started having these late night fevers, low grade fevers, like nothing to go rushing off to urgent care about, but it was a nuisance, and it felt miserable, and it was like this prolonged battle with, the baddest version of the flu. But what did happen is I was able to sit down and study. And I have to tell you, man, I wish I'd done this a lot sooner. My appreciation for information and knowledge and just expanding my horizons. My appreciation now at this stage of my life is much, much better than it ever was when I was younger. And I know how to study, I know how to practice, I know how to rehearse, I know how to retain the information, and I know what to do when I'm not retaining the information. And so I'm having this amazing time studying these new topics, not just one, because this is a fairly large domain that I am tackling right now. You scratching your butt? But I'm just having an amazingly fun and inspirational and motivational time. So much so that I actually want to, like, climb on top of a building and shout from the rafters and tell people, hey, do this, try this, don't do the same old thing. But I'm just trying not to lose my sanity here. And it's interesting because I've been able to do very well at certain industries, certain businesses, certain business sectors, certain verticals. I've been able to kind of like find my own and just do well. But then my mom, a long time ago when I was still a kid, my mom pointed this thing out to me. She said that you get bored, and then you need to move on. You need to go do something else. And at the time she was talking about me and girls, because she would say, yeah, you get bored with the girls and then you need to move on. But that actually carries on to my to real life as well, to regular life as well, to other aspects of life, I should say. And I've outgrown that idea that you got to be chasing the next high, the next form of excitement and all that. So I'm not there anymore. But in terms of knowledge, I think I am still there. I think I do still appreciate a good topic that hasn't been explored for myself in the past. And man, I'm just really excited. I sit down and I can't wait to get back to the desk. I can't wait to get back to my work area and learn something new and take these tests and take these exams and just make things work the way that I'd like them to work and really take charge of my life and guide it in the direction that I'd like it to go, as opposed to sitting back and waiting for someone to give me permission to do this or do that. And I think this is very, very important when you are over 40, but certainly when you're over 50, that you have to decide when you're going to you got to decide how you're going to take charge of your life and what efforts you're going to take to steer your ship in the right direction. And for me, now I see that it is in just learning more and giving myself a new sense of direction, but also with that something else to conquer. When I was a stock transfer control agent on Wall Street, I rose to the top. I came out from becoming an outdoor messenger to coming inside working on the Wall Street firm, and then I rose to become the senior transfer control clerk. When I was a desktop support person, field service engineer, I was I actually started off at the help desk, not the help desk, but the call center. And then I worked my way up to the top to become a field service engineer, and until I decided to move on to something else. When I worked in office administration, I started off as a mail clerk. That was my title, mail clerk. And I ended up doing so much for the company, this was in New York, that they changed the title of the company, I'm sorry, not the company, of our department to office administration because I was helping the teams prepare for RFPs. I was helping the account teams prepare press releases and all kinds of things like that. And so basically, I in every field I've worked in, I've been able to just rise to the top of my peers. When I started off in security, I started off working graveyard shift, and got to the point now I run a six-figure client services account in Little Saigon, and I met my wife that way. I started to learn a new language that way, and now it's time to move on. And the best case scenario is to be able to tie all of that experience into something new. And when you start off looking for something new, you should probably investigate the thing that is new at the time. So I'm still not going to divulge exactly what I'm getting into, but suffice it to say that it is a very big deal, a new deal, and I'm excited to be a part of it in the very, very near future once I get some other things taken care of. But also just excited to be learning something new and to have some new experiences to look forward to and some new challenges to look forward to. And for anyone out there who's over 50 and you've had to deal with the layoffs that have come with some of the major tech organizations like Amazon and Amazon and Google and some other places, you should know that the 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 sum of your experiences is greater than the experiences themselves. And by that I mean, 1 plus 1 is not just 2 when it comes to your experiences. 1 plus 1 is more like 5 when you put everything together and you figure out what your worth is, what your value is. So everyone out there who is facing some difficult times and you want to change the direction of your life and you want to take control of it, attempting something new is probably the most valuable thing that you could do, and it's the thing that's going to empower you, and it will, with that sense of empowerment, it gives you confidence to tackle, to actually wrestle with the unknown, and that's a good thing. I mean, the unknown keeps you on your toes. The unknown keeps you fighting. The unknown keeps you, in the struggle. It keeps you, it just keeps you aware of everything and every opportunity, and that's what you have to be aware of. Because I'm the kind of person that believes that, when one door shuts, another door opens. But if you're not looking for any doors, then you need to look for some windows or some hatchways or some, something that another opportunity is presented itself. And maybe the opportunity that's presenting itself is just simply time to do something different, since you've been doing the same thing for a long time and now you've been forced not to do it because of so-called financial reasons of the industry. Now you have the time, and hopefully, some of you got some nice severance packages. I pray for you that you did receive those, and you can use that to take the time off and explore some different areas of learning, and then that exposure could possibly lead you to the next thing that's good for you. And in the end, that's all we ever really want, is to do something that feels good for us. And on that note, Max and I are going to say goodbye. Hey, let's go. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.